Hello everybody and welcome to my channel Music, Musicals and Me. Today we're going to be reviewing the music of Black Friday by Team Starkid. Now I am a huge Starkid fan. As you can see from the shirt, I've got a Starkid tattoo that says pepperoni and cheese. I'm a fan. Anything that I say today is not an attack on Starkid. I'm absolutely a fan, but we're just going to be reviewing, critiquing and having a little bit of a look at the music of Black Friday, what works, what doesn't. This is solely my opinion. If you do enjoy musicals, musical theatre, make sure that you subscribe if you enjoy this video to see more videos. Now as well, in the video I am going to be doing a lot of comparisons to Sondheim's rules, so if you haven't seen my video all about Sondheim's golden rules, go check it out somewhere here if I can figure out how to put it there. Now I'm not like one of those crazy Sondheim's the greatest fans, but he is a really great contemporary theatre writer that has written a lot and given a lot of great information and insight into his writing process, and I do really believe that his golden rules are absolutely fantastic. So we are going to be having a little look at how the music of Black Friday compares to that. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into it. Now the first thing that I want to mention is the structure of the show and the structure of the music. So this is something that I had a little bit of an issue with, and the whole show sort of had a feeling of dragging. So if we look through the song list here, so many of the songs in Act 1 are introductory songs to characters or ideas, and that's because there are so many different characters in Black Friday. I don't think the show really knows who the main character is supposed to be. So we start off with the Tickle Me Wiggly jingle, which is obviously introducing Wiggly. We've got What Tim Wants, introducing Tim Houston. We've got Califorma, which is introducing Lex, Ethan, Hannah, that whole vibe. What Do You Say, introducing Becky Barnes. Our Doors Are Open, introducing Frank Priceley. And then Feast or Famine, which is a fantastic song that kind of moves the plot along there. And then we've got Monsters and Men, which is introducing, you know, the President and Peep and that whole plot line. So pretty much all of all of Act 1 is introductory songs. We don't get any real development. We meet the characters and we don't really see anything else from them until the second act. Pretty much. I'm making a stretch here. But to me, it is a real drag when you're listening to the soundtrack because you don't get any of those next stage, next step of the story songs or moments. A little bit maybe in the relationship between Tom and Becky. So then if we look into Act 2, a whole bunch of Act 2 numbers are end of the show, villain, 11 o'clocky, it's the end of the show songs, but we've got about 4 or 5 of them. So we've obviously got Deck the Halls, Take Me Back, Adore Me, Do You Want to Play, we're all getting into it, and then when it hits Made in America, this is like Uncle Wiley's villain song, like this is the big part of the show when the villain comes out and has the face-off. And then we have Black Friday, where it's like Sherman's villain song in a way, and Lex is gonna die, and it's the big showdown between them. And then we have If I Fail. We have just a 5.5 ballad, which is Tom's big, you know, can I overcome this moment between him and Wiggly. And then we've got Wiggle, which is again another song between the villain and the good guys, can I overcome this. And then What If Tomorrow Comes, which is a nice finale. So as you can kind of see, Act 1 is kind of introducing everyone, and then Act 2 is doing all of the kind of closing bits, and there's not a lot that happens in between. It's just kind of trying to follow all of these different storylines. So structurally, me personally, I think there's a bit too much going on, and like I said, we're going to be referring to Sondheim's rules. Less is more. That's one of his rules. Less is more, okay? So this is in regards to music, but also in regards to all the other elements that go into it. So now we're going to be breaking down a specific song, and I think a lot of my points can be expressed through the song Califorma. And I love this song, it's a catchy song, but there are a few issues within the song. So firstly, the song starts off, my mom's a bitch, an alcoholic, And we've got Lex, who up until now we've portrayed as this character who's a bit of a high school dropout, smoking weed, you know, like kind of down in the streets, you know, not a great not great spellers, not very well educated as we're, you know, trying to build these characters. And she's using words like hyperbolic, melancholic, you know, which are these really big complex words that, you know, some listeners might not even know what they mean, let alone Lex. So there's a bit of an inconsistency, and this goes back to Sondheim's rule of content dictates form. So the content of the character, which is, you know, this dropout, you know, low lifey kind of girl who's running away from her mum, dictates what you are actually gonna write for her to say and for her to sing. And I think that's a really important thing, and that I don't honestly believe that this character would sing those lyrics. So that's my first point. Now, similar to this point, when she says about being an actress, it's not a trope. I'll be an actress. I've had practice selling hope. Great lyrics, but again, trope is such a academic word almost. I don't really hear a lot of people using the word trope in regards to describing their everyday lives. Personally, I think a better choice would have been, it's not a joke. You know, that's totally something I can imagine somebody saying, it's not a joke, I'll be an actress, you know, rather than it's not a trope. So again, vocabulary choice, making sure that it's really believable for the character to be singing these lyrics. I think this is an issue that happens a lot throughout the show. Now, the next point is kind of like filler lyrics, or lyrics that don't have a lot of clarity, that don't always make the most sense. They might sound pretty, but when you listen to them, you think, well, what does that actually mean? So for my example in Califorma, it is, we're missing in action, addition by subtraction. Now, listening to that every time, I go, I don't really know what that means or why you guys are saying addition by subtraction. And the only thing that I can think of is you're gaining something by subtracting yourself from the situation. Like, because you're running away, you're actually getting more, addition by subtraction, but it's really, really not clear. And if we go back to Sondheim, everything is in the service of clarity. And there are a lot of times when these filler lyrics, when I go, well, that's kind of a cool lyric, but we're not run pop songs here for cool lyrics that mean nothing. Like, we're trying to tell a story in the most efficient way that we can. And I think oftentimes these lyrics are very much filler. And because there's so much filler, this also contributes to the reason why it feels like it's dragging a lot of the time. Now, before I finish reviewing this song, there is something that I think it does really well, and that is the little scene in the middle of Califorma. And I think that more writers should feel that they can merge song and scene more, rather than going, okay, we're going to do a big scene here, and then we're going to do a big song here. I think you should be able to dip in and out and be creative with the way you integrate your music into the show. So I think that's been done really successfully in this song, and I think it really helps the song further the story, because at the start of the song, you know, they're just starting this whole thing, and at the end of the song they've written the note, they've run away, they've, you know what I mean? So anytime that a song can further the plot, make a leap forward, that's really, really good. Now, the last thing, just really quickly, is the length of the songs, okay? So a lot of the songs are quite long, and often quite long where they don't need to be long. So we've got for example, Monsters and Men, a huge song that doesn't really say a lot, doesn't really introduce us to the black and white because it hasn't been explained yet. We've already met the characters in the song. It's not really doing a lot. It doesn't tie all the threads together as the Act 1 finale. A lot of Tom's ballads are quite long, and they've got some good stuff in them, but we haven't had enough time to connect to the character to really digest it yet. So not only are there a lot of songs because there's a lot of characters, the songs themselves are quite long, and personally I think for not a good reason. I don't think the length of song correlates to the amount of information that we get, the amount that the story moves forward. So that pretty much wraps it up. I could say more, but these are just a few things that are my personal reactions to the music of Black Friday. Please let me know your thoughts below. I know that some people love the show, some people are not such big fans. Personally, I think it's a great show. It's just very, very different, and I think there could have been some things that were potentially done a little bit better. But with that being said, I hope you have an awesome day, and we'll see you next time.